what we find is that the clients that we do really well and can add most value with is like, it's this multitasking, chaos where there's just no clear vision. Things aren't consistent. They're not seeing results because they're not sure how to measure it. So it's more just like, hey, let me take this off your plate so that your people can kind of really focus on the other really important things. Oh, the drum roll. The Freddy drum roll.
Tricia.
Hey, Freddy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, I was really excited.
Yeah, for all of you out there, I had to tell Tricia to be quiet because we were having a great conversation. I'm like, Tricia, we have to record this.
Yeah, welcome, guys. We've already done the podcast. It's over.
Yeah, we were done an hour ago.
Yeah.
My cookie just didn't hit record. We're doing it again.
But you're so easy to talk to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I love these things. These are great because it's you almost have a reason to have people come in and go, hey, I want you on my podcast. And they're like, oh, yeah. And it's really selfish because I want to meet people.
But I think the way you host your podcast is really cool because there's no agenda. It's kind of like just sit down, talk, have coffee or whatever, and super organic. So I think like the best stuff comes out of that for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you're in my business a little bit. A little bit of that social.
Yeah.
How's that going, man? Like social media it's so hard.
Super hard. And I think, with everything constantly changing, I personally don't love the content creation part of it. So what I've learned and kind of, I think as you go through business, you kind of pick out the pieces that you really enjoy doing and where you can add the most value. And then you hire people who are really good at the other stuff. So that's kind of where I've gotten to. I've got a really great team now. I have somebody who does the content creation and she's awesome. So it's good. It's good. But I think kind of keeping up with everything changing all the time and then being able to, I think the biggest challenge that we addressed it pretty well is, well, how do you know it's working, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's providing, the metrics and the numbers to the clients to be able to say, hey, listen, here's your improvement and this is why. They're just kind of having the right tools in place, I think really help that.
Yeah, right on. So being that you do the metrics and those great things with social media, how do you measure success? Like you have a brand new client, they come to you, they got nothing going on, it's a mess.
Yeah.
Tricia, please hook us up. And then, what do you give them and say, listen, you guys are doing great because of X? What's like your number one thing?
Well, I think identifying client goals is like really important. So what are they trying to do? Create brand awareness? Are they trying to use this as lead generation? I think just really kind of fleshing out those pieces are important. Recently, we had a client wanting to really build their email list. And, I get a call and the client was so happy because he was like, hey, I just didn't expect this pop-up to work so well or this quiz to work so well. And we've gotten, dozens of emails. And so it was working. So that was the measure for that specific piece. But I think overall, it's kind of making sure that we're tracking things. So whether it is, Google Analytics on the site to be able to show them, hey, like your traffic from social is this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest piece, because it's not always really understood by a lot of the clients, like what marketing is or how it works. I've just been really cognizant about upfront kind of saying to them, hey, like, what are your goals? And this is how we'll know if it works. And just communicating that piece up front. And just asking for patience too, because like it does not happen overnight.
Nope. No, people don't have patience these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want everything to happen right away. And you sit there and try to convince them of like organic.
Right.
Organic is the way to go. I try to tell everyone advertising is great.
Yeah.
If you want to spend a lot of money, we'll always get you the clicks, always get you the leads.
Yeah.
But man, that organic piece, social or website, build that foundation and make it grow.
Right.
At the end of the day, I feel like even with algorithm changes and all that foundation sticks.
Yeah.
It's super important.
And I think, to that piece, like you killed it on TikTok, right? Like,
yeah, tried.
Yeah. But I mean,
it worked.
It did work. I mean, so like, bravo on that because
Thanks.
I think you were kind of really in when it started to get big. Am I right?
Yeah. That's the whole thing. It was, I was telling everyone though, I was like, TikTok's huge, TikTok. But even then it got big because of one video. It
Okay.
wasn't multiples. Because if you look
Right.
at the other videos on our account, yeah, there's some heavy hitters on there,
Sure.
tens of thousands. I think maybe one is hundreds of thousands, but the million video, that's the one that did it, and we got our most work from that. But what it proves is consistency
Yeah.
and always posting.
Yeah.
And even the stuff that you think nobody will ever care about,
Right.
because that's what it was. It was a video on local SEO, which I thought was dumb. And my social media coordinator at the time was like, let's do it on this. I'm like, I guess, okay. Because I'm
Yeah.
like busy building websites. So I let her do that part.
Right.
Did it, over 1 million views.
That's awesome.
People calling us from around the country.
Yeah.
And it's just consistency and just trying things.
But that national reach is pretty cool
And
bragging
it's pretty
rights.
fast on TikTok,
Yeah.
though. TikTok's a different monster.
Yeah.
It is a different monster. The algorithm is amazing.
Hmm.
Everybody tries to replicate it. Nobody's done it yet.
Yeah.
I've received the most work from TikTok.
Awesome.
The phone calls are insane.
Yeah.
You know, it's they still call me and go, "Hey, Fred speaking. How can I help you?" And they're like, "Is this the guy in the video?" I'm like, "Yeah." You pick up the phone. I'm like, "Yeah, that's just TikTok, dude."
Right.
Like, I have to run a business still.
Right. Do they have in their mind, they think that, you're this huge agency. I mean, you are a big agency, but just probably the myth, the man, the legend, whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I love it. I love that. I love that I'm still involved. Not that I wouldn't be involved, but I love that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I get a kick out of it when they're like, "This is the
Right.
guy that's really." I'm like, "Yes, this is the guy in the videos."
You go home at night, you're like, Jill, guess what?
Yeah, I know. But I but I really dig that they can call us, and then, yeah, I do pick up the phone. So
Right.
I feel like it's even more, the brand is even stronger, and it gives me more credibility when, yeah, I'm not just on there as a pretty face.
For
It's
sure.
like, no, I want to help you with your stuff,
Yeah.
your marketing.
And I do think with marketing too, just as far as the branding, but the personal touch, I've seen a lot of agencies get away from that, where they've gotten so big where it's like there really is not that personal touch.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for agencies to find the brand voice, of their clients. So I kind of look at that as something that we focus on, just to stay really connected and stay small, I have a lot of experience in small business, which I shared with you. You were saying before about, and it's not even a shameless plug-in because I sold the business, but I started off in an e-commerce space, where for every item we sold, we were partnered with a global nonprofit, so we planted a tree. And that was really cool. Learned a lot from that. But it grew and it got to the point where, it was a lot of retail commitment, so to speak, and which is really draining. And
Super
mad
hard.
props to, people in that retail space, because what I was finding is I go to these events and promote the business and stuff. And I would come home and I was not the greatest person to my family, because I was I'm tapped out.
It's draining.
It's so draining. And for being an extrovert, when I hit that point that I'm just done, it's put me in a decompression chamber.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Are you an extrovert?
I am.
Okay.
I'm a big time extrovert. I think Jill hates that.
Okay.
Yeah. Not
She's
that Jill's not.
quiet.
She is quiet. She's quiet, but she's I wouldn't call her an introvert. Maybe in the past.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's that way now at all. I think she's a lot more outgoing, but she's a homebody, but so am I. Deep down inside, I'd rather sit at home and, like we said, watch Parking Wars and and veg out on the couch and just laugh.
Man.
Or Mountain Man, right? But yeah, I mean, I definitely get the small business stuff you were talking about, keeping it small.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really big into that. I dig that. How do you handle when clients come up to you, right? Because here's one of my things. You're in social media, super hard. I remember talking to just McCookie about it earlier. I was like, dude, social media is so hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost e-commerce-y, because e-commerce is really hard. I'm props to you for selling that business. I had a t-shirt business down the drain, just didn't work out.
Yeah.
It's I'll call it one of my failures in life, was my t-shirt thing. I learned a lot from it, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took a shit. So let's just be honest about it. And that's fine. Because you're right. You just get so overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
But to go back to my question, How do you handle people that say, well, I want to handle social media in-house as opposed to hiring a professional?
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think my approach definitely is more like our ideal client is small business who CEO or, higher level management are wearing too many hats,
Yeah.
right? So they're managing somebody who's maybe doing the social media, but also doing the admin stuff and also doing X, Y, and Z. My approach on that is just listen, like you as the CEO of the company should not be worrying about your social media at all.
Mm.
Like it shouldn't even fall on your radar. Know that it's getting done well. And your people should be able to focus on the things that they need to do and focus really well on that. So what we find is that the clients that we do really well and can add most value with is like it's this multitasking, chaos where there's just no clear vision. Things aren't consistent. They're not seeing results because they're not sure how to measure it. So it's more just like, hey, let me take this off your plate so that your people can kind of really focus on the other really important things. So that's kind of more the dialogue that we have. And we find that if we're approaching it that way, after a couple months, they're like, oh man, we didn't really know how much we were missing. And
Mhm.
that's kind of when, it's really cool to see like, or hear word of mouth, like, yeah, people are coming up to us they started to notice like that we exist and we have a brand image now and things like that. So that's, really rewarding.
Yeah.
But it's that patience piece because I'm not going to lie, like there's been clients who, regardless of how you communicate it, after 2 months, they're like, we're not seeing any results, like, and they're ready to jump ship. And that's okay because I think, the longer you're in business, you're able to kind of say, all right, well, they're probably not the ideal client then.
Right.
And that's okay. Whereas before it was kind of like a real personal thing and I got really bummed out about it. But now it's kind of like, nope, that's kind of how you flush out, clients that are a good fit and clients maybe that are not.
Yeah, you have to get over that. I feel like I still take it personal,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Right. Because we
Yeah.
care.
I care a lot. I mean, I care a lot about my name. I care a lot about
Yeah.
my brand. I care a lot about my work. And sometimes it's not even a fault of your own.
Right.
We have a client now that they're giving me the bullshit story about why they want to leave.
Sure.
Well, we found it cheaper. I'm like, and they're going to give us all these things. I'm like, you're so full of shit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
right.
because if that's how much it costs, I'll hire them to do my client's work done because it's cheaper for me to hire them to do all that crazy shit.
Absolutely. Do you find, like in the marketing world, that when you have a client like you're speaking about, I feel like a lot of stuff has gone overseas.
Oh, for sure.
And
Yeah, and good luck.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that because I don't want to
Yeah.
talk shit. But if you go overseas,
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah. It's huge loss in translation there.
You
I mean,
think?
I've seen it, which is how we've gotten some clients because they're posting stuff on our account that makes absolutely no sense. And
No
I'm kind
shit.
of like, do you want to know why? So yeah, it's just, I think that battle almost like it takes care of itself though. Like
Mhm.
hopefully they come back and they're like, yeah,
Oh,
we've made a mistake.
I've had people call me up afterwards. You made a mess of my website. I've been cleaning it up for 9
Right.
days. I'm like, what are you talking about? And
Yeah.
then you see the new person that comes in their
Yeah.
email address. I'm like, yeah. So let me
Right.
guess. They saw an opportunity to get American to pay them money.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and talk shit about the other guy so much so that you see all this work I did, and then you're going to hate them.
Yeah. Which is, not cool. Right.
No, not cool at all.
But they don't care.
No, there's clients that just don't give a shit. And then you're right. That's the line right there, though.
Yeah.
That's where you're like, you know what? If that's what you're worried about is
Right.
price and pa,
Right.
take a walk.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and don't be afraid to tell them to take a walk. Believe me, because I'm already in that position again today as we sit here. Received an email this morning.
Yeah.
And I took my wife's advice because she said, babe, don't ever answer people back when you're angry. Because when you do, you suck at it.
For sure.
And you fuck up
For
every
sure.
time.
Yeah.
So I stopped myself twice
Good.
from writing an email back.
Right.
And now even just talking to you, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. It's not
Yeah.
even worth it.
And I'm
dude.
going to chew your ear off and you're going to even forget about what you're pissed about before we even
Right.
start the podcast.
I know. And I'm just like, you know what? It's so true. It's like if they don't want to be here, let them go.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
being in a relationship. It's like, why would you
Right.
want one person into it and one person not into it?
Right.
It's not going to work out.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. But I think that, it definitely takes like maturity for sure. Like I know me 5 years ago probably would have like, I'm going to put them in their place and answer, but Jill's like so right. You just need to just take a breath and step away.
Yeah. But
just,
the funny part is that they don't know that somebody already talked to me last week.
Oh, right.
So it's
so
like,
you've got the upper hand
yeah.
anyway.
So I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. You want to leave for this reason, but you don't know that I talked to the other guy already who told me what the real reason was.
Right.
So I'm just writing it out now to see if you got enough balls.
Yeah.
And they don't. They're talking shit already.
Oh man.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely it's challenging. But I think any small businesses, I think if you decide that you want to be in small business and an entrepreneur, be your own boss and stuff. It's hard. You gotta like really want it for sure.
Yeah.
And then you also like I find stuff like evolving. So just kind of be a little bit flexible with the way things are going and
always pivoting, always changing.
Yeah.
COVID taught us that.
Yeah.
The second COVID started and everything got, suspended, I lost a ton of clients because it's marketing. What am I marketing to?
Right.
Nothing going on, man.
Yeah, it's crazy as hell. Did you have a lot of like people in the hospitality space, or was it just kind of across the board where it was a panic button? And
well, yeah, it was across the board in the sense of like advertising and maybe marketing dollars and stuff. Okay, we're going to put a hold on it.
Yeah.
But then when things started to like, when 2 weeks to flatten the curve, we all realized it was a bunch of garbage.
Right.
Then people were like, okay, well, I'm going to take this downtime to review everything.
Right.
So then I started actually, talking to people about their branding, about their websites. All the times you said, when I have time, I'm going to do it. I'm like, well, now's the time to do it.
Right.
So people came in, either current clients or new clients, because they wanted just to take care of everything. So COVID was like, yeah, it sucked, but then it was probably one of the best things ever happened to my business because people actually sat down and took care of their stuff.
I totally agree. One of, my best clients still to this day, kind of, I was a little panicked because at that point, that was really pivotal. That's kind of when I started my business because I had been furloughed from another position. And in that time, had people reaching out and just saying, hey, can you help us out, kind of while you're on this break, and unsure of when we were going to be called back. And so it was, for me, it was a silver lining because it was a point where I could say, all right, do I stay where I'm at and not particularly loving it and feeling fulfilled? Or do I kind of like take the jump and do my own thing? And the client that I had taken on at that point, I was just like, hey, listen, I know you didn't see this coming. They had signed a contract. And I was like, I understand, like, if you need to back off. And they were like, hell no. Like, we are going to put the pedal to the metal. And this is when we're really going to focus on our marketing and really, put a lot behind it. And I tell you what, they had one of their best years following.
Right.
And not just because of the marketing, but because of their mentality to just kind of push through it. And, hey, we're going to make the best of it. They stepped up to the plate. They took every opportunity to volunteer. Like, they just really kind of like, their leadership through that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
That's what everybody has to do, though. I think a lot of people get scared.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, and not just because of COVID, just in business in general. They're just like, well, spend this much money, spend that much money, whatever the case is. I'm like, you got to jump in the pool, man.
Right.
When you jump in that pool and start doing that marketing, things happen.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest accomplishments was, Core Health. They're
awesome.
They're like my number one client. I'm not afraid to say it. And
yeah.
But man, talk about realizing you're not full of shit. Okay, for me personally, because I was like, you need to do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
All the time, follow this formula. And they were like, okay, never stopped.
Yeah.
Kept going. And again, just like you said, I'm not going to say I'm the reason why they're successful, but listen, marketing is a big part.
Sure.
And you go from a 200 square foot office to a multi-million-dollar building, whatever. On 222.
Yeah, which is I started seeing them when they were at that small building off of State Hill Road. So I've seen that progression, and it's been incredible. They used to have, so they had 2 doctors, Jill, and then I think there was one other team member on staff when I was going, and now they've got what?
4 chiropractors, multiple practitioners.
That's incredible.
They're like a staff of 18 now.
That's awesome.
I remember when it was just Sarah. Sarah was in this little office at the Berks Elite Training Building.
Oh, right.
Before Jason.
See, I didn't even know them then. Yeah.
That's when I met him.
So was that before, were they married at that point?
Yeah, they were married.
Okay.
Jason was at another place, and Sarah started Core Health Chiropractic
Yeah.
from that little office. And I met her at a PAC meeting, networking.
That's so cool.
And we just started doing social media together. Like in the beginning, oh, help me with social media. Sure. And then it was
Cool.
like, what else do you know how to do? And I was like, I can do flyers.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do websites.
Right.
And
I've got all the tricks.
it was cool to like grow with them though.
Yeah.
Cause like where I was in 2016 to where I am now is, I mean, it's different.
Right.
Totally 180. But I love that they listened, man, you know,
Right.
and they had the patience.
That's key. It's key because I think that everything's like now. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like getting people to understand and just buy into the fact that like it will take time, but just hang in there. But, I think like about jumping into the pool too, I think it's a little bit or a lot of like personality type too. I mean, not type 2 also, but
Right.
because I just think like, I don't know if you feel this way with Jill, but like my husband and I are complete like opposites attract. So I think sometimes when I get these like ideas that are probably too far off, he'll kind of like reel me in. And then there's
Yeah.
other times like when I need a little bit of a push, to kind of get where I need to go, where he kind of jumps in. It's like, yeah, you got it,
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I think Jill talks herself down a little bit sometimes, like the I can'ts come out of her.
Yeah.
And I look at her with this look like you're talking a lot of shit right now.
Yeah, right?
Because when I met her, she was working at CVS. We were both at CVS. She was running a store on Long Island. And then, we moved. And then she's doing telemarketing type stuff in Florida while I was
Right.
building the business. And she became one of the top salespeople there. And then she comes over here and says, I'm going to work at Morgan Truck. And she could only go so far because she didn't have a degree.
Right.
So they kept her at a certain spot.
Yeah.
Starts her own business, kills it, 6 figures.
Yeah.
Walking dogs.
Yeah.
And people sit there and go, you just walk dogs? And still to this day, they talk to her like it's a side hustle. I'm like, my woman makes 6 figures
Right.
in this business, and she helps Core Health get to where they got to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I look at her sometimes and go, how does the word I can't come out of your mouth when your
Right.
resume is fucking incredible?
Right. Yeah.
I
It's
don't know.
awesome. I mean, that's the American dream, right? To be able to
Right.
just build something out of nothing and just kill it. Like,
Yeah, and she's done it on multiple occasions.
that's awesome.
Yeah, she's number one. She's aces.
That's,
Like,
Yeah.
give me a break. But like you were saying, though, as far as opposites attract with your
Yeah.
husband,
Yeah.
I love my wife dearly.
Yeah.
I don't want to work with her
yeah. Oh, no, God.
because I love our marriage. I think our marriage is great. I think we get along just great. Why would I want to fuck that up?
Well, so I could probably trump you on this one, Freddie, because so since COVID happened, and then my husband recently took a new job, we share a basement office space at our home office.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of work to be nice to each other some days. And then we just recently had water issues, so the basement's ripped apart, and we currently like don't have our home office at the moment. And so he's in our bedroom, I'm at the kitchen table. This is when we're at home trying to get stuff done, and it's just we're spending a lot of time together, and it's not the best situation. So I hear that 100%. Like I would not want to work together in any capacity other than raising our kids, and because I think that's probably best. It's
Oh, yeah, for
it's when we're
sure.
best as a couple. is when we're
Absolutely.
just-
I mean, I got lucky during COVID because I had the building.
yeah, right.
Because I stood home one day, when everybody was like, we're going home, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So like everybody in the back went home.
Yeah,
I took my laptop home and stuff.
Yeah.
I was home one day.
yeah, right.
And I was like, nope. Next day, I was like, you know what? Who's going to kick me out of my own building?
Right.
There's nobody in here.
Right.
I'm not giving COVID to the walls.
Right.
So that was it. I was here
Yeah.
every day by myself.
Well, and I had to laugh because I think it was your last podcast, maybe you were talking about your taco speakeasy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I wish we were friends then. I would have come over for tacos.
Man, that was, we covered everything.
Yeah, I
and they were
know,
coming in
it's
through the
crazy.
back door.
Yeah.
We felt like such rebels, but all we wanted to do was just
Eat
to like
tacos.
see humans and eat tacos.
I know,
That
right?
was
Like,
it.
who can blame you?
No, it was freaking awesome. I mean, I almost missed that in a sense because it was people strongly trying to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
And now that everything's kind of back to normal,
Yeah.
You find yourself almost being alone again at times.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's funny that you said that because I'll never forget the first night. I don't know if it was the first day of COVID, but it was the first day the kids didn't have school. So we've got 3 kids, 15, 12, and 8. And then obviously they were younger, but we were sitting out on the back porch and it was a mild night. And I just remember talking to my husband if I can't control something, I get really anxious. So my anxiety was like through the roof. So we're sitting there and talking, having a couple drinks, and we look up, and I remember seeing these things go across the sky, right? Kids are like, oh my gosh, what is that? And Connor's pointing, there's another one. There's another one. They're all perfectly spaced out, going across the sky for like 10 or 15 minutes, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that? Well, here it was SpaceX, right?
Oh.
They had launched just, a day before or whatever. So it was going across the sky, and it was like, wow. And it occurred to me that was like the first night that we had sat outside on the porch as a family in like months, and I was like, oh. And so sports stopped, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was school stopped, everything stopped. And I struggled the first couple of weeks because I'm not a homebody in the sense of like, I need to control where I am and what I'm doing. Like, I like being home, but if you tell me I can't leave my house, I'm going to be like, screw you, I'm leaving my house. So once I settled into the fact that like it was completely out of my control, like we had dinner together as a family again, which, was sad because you don't realize how rushed that is when you're out and doing things and, doing the sports and you're in the rat race. So I for sure miss that piece.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. The rat race is crazy.
Yeah.
And we make it worse on ourselves by owning our own businesses. I think a lot of people think, well, you own your own business, so you're your own boss and you can do whatever you want. I'm like, yeah, bring it back, dude.
Right.
I can do whatever I want technically.
Right.
Doesn't mean I do.
Right. Well, so I may disagree with that in the sense of just saying, I am so confident in the people that I have on my team now. It's been really nice. Like I was actually able to go to Nashville a couple weeks ago with my husband and a couple groups of friends. And honest to God, I, left and didn't worry about anything while I was gone because I knew she had it. Like, so, not that you can control everything, but just kind of being able to step away from something, even as the owner, like it's really nice. Now, I mean, I'm certainly not managing anything at the level that you are, but I kind of like that space, being able to, get away and just know that somebody else has got it.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when we went away in January, Will took the reins, our designer, he's here in the office, and it felt good.
Yeah.
He handled a lot of things. It's more of a personal thing with me.
Yeah.
It's like, you're right. You build a team, you don't have to worry about it. It's hard for me, man. It's hard for me to like just be like, oh, here you go. Take care of my life's work. I'll be back in a week.
Right.
It's
your baby. Right.
Yeah, dude. And this is, even though people have only known me here since 16, I've been doing this for over 20 years.
Yeah.
You just didn't know about who I was, because I moved here. I'm an import, but it gets really scary. But I do see the benefit that you're talking about by having other people handle it, for sure.
Right. Well, I guess it was yours more my brain's always firing on all cylinders. It's kind of like I joke around about it just because it's like I can never just sit and be like, this is why people are like, you really need to learn how to meditate. And I'm like, yeah, I know. One day I'll learn that. But like, is yours more of like a mental quiet, like knowing that you don't have to check the boxes off or do the things? Like, are you mentally preoccupied like when you're gone, or are you able to kind of shut that off? And
yeah, I'm definitely mentally preoccupied.
Yeah.
When I'm gone, I told Jill it takes about 5 days for me to get into vacation mode, 6, and then we're leaving already.
Right.
Which is why
it's a long time.
Yeah. The next trip I actually booked for 2 weeks on purpose.
Yeah.
So I could be there and relax and then finally be on vacation the next week.
Yeah.
After that. It's hard, man. I think it's having the old school mentality. Growing up in the Spanish household, the way my dad was. And, what makes you a man is this, what makes you a man is that, and which I totally appreciate,
Sure.
I'm not like chauvinistic, but I still believe in masculinity. Like,
Sure.
Me and my wife are equal, but I'm the motherfucker handling things when shit goes down. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, she's a strong woman, and I would never say she couldn't handle anything.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to take out the garbage.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Sure.
do it. I'm going to bring the heavy shit in the house.
Sure.
I like those things.
I love those things, and
Right.
like walk on the outside of the street. Like every time my
That's
husband
what I
does
do.
that,
I
I'm
do
like,
it.
"Ah,
Yeah.
I
And
love it.
I think Jill notices it now, but
Yeah.
I do that thing, and like she's always on the inside. But
Yeah.
the point being though is that, that also applies to my business, where it's like, I got to handle it. This is my thing. This is what, I gotta be the CEO, whatever the hell you want to call it, the boss. And, I think it's just in my DNA from the years of just
Yeah,
doing
it's
it
just
in
who you
general.
are.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's hard for me to leave it, but I think that's why I put that, that retirement point that I've been saying is I want to retire when I'm 50. Hey, I mean, and you know what? I know it sounds
It's gonna
crazy,
happen.
but I'm going to keep saying it because
Yeah.
that's what I want to happen. So I'm hoping when I turn 50, I can relax.
Yeah.
That'd be
Right?
cool. But
I
until then, honestly, I just
Yeah,
don't
it's just
think I'm
kinda who
ever
you
gonna.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what I do.
I think that the biggest thing that, how I mark personal growth for me is just, I used to get I wouldn't say I'm a huge people pleaser, but I like to be able to, know that I did a good job and know that people are happy with things, and my family included, just across the board. But I got to a point where it was so if the reaction of somebody wasn't what I thought it should be, it would create such anxiety.
Oh,
I was like
yeah.
a mess over it, right? And so like my personal marker now for like personal growth has been just kind of knowing like I can't control the way you react. All I can
Yeah.
control is the way I react and then the work I've put in. So if I've given it my 100%, right? And um, you know, I'm good with it. I feel good about it. I can't really control, your response. And that's just kind of helped me just to say like, all right, Tricia,
Mhm.
you're in a situation right now. Like, what are you going to do? So it's been kind of cool because when I recognize it, then I'm like, all right, I'm growing up a little bit here. Like,
Yeah, it's good for you, man. I mean, I hope I get to that point soon, because it just even talking to you, thinking about like these other clients and stuff like that. I'm like, why do I give a shit so much? Some days I'm like, just turn it off, dude. Like, let them. They don't want to stick around, let them go. The ones that want to stick around,
yeah,
treat them better, or not. That I don't treat them good at all, but it's like put your energy towards the people that want to work with you.
sure.
You know?
Well, because I don't disagree with you because I think it's personal.
Yeah,
It's super
everything's
personal.
personal with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that whole like Michael Scott from The Office.
Yeah.
People say business is not personal, and he
Yeah.
says business is one of the most personal things you can do with
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, Michael Scott.
Yeah.
There's truth to that big time because it's still a relationship.
Yeah.
You don't jump into bed with anybody just because. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason why you're together. There's a reason why you've decided to do this thing together.
Sure.
And whether it's a relationship, intimate or fucking business, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
man. So when somebody sits here and goes, I'm going to trust you with this and I want you to
Sure.
build this for me and I want you to take this goal of mine and help me achieve it. Yeah, I take that personal and I take that
Sure.
within my body. It's like in my soul. And like I'll build things and show it to people and go, look what I did.
Yeah.
Just like I'm talking to my parents, like, look what I did. Put it on the
Yeah.
fridge. And it's for
Yeah.
me, it's a website.
Yeah.
Look how fucking cool it is, man.
Yeah.
It
It's your
moves
art.
and does these
Right.
things.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
And then you sit there and you're just like, oh, fuck. They just, I guess, don't like it or they fell out of love with me.
You're
And then, it just hurts.
well, you're really you're bare, right? You're totally
Yeah.
like you're putting yourself out there. So it's not easy. Yeah. And
Yeah.
but I think that that's probably one of the biggest difference between somebody going to work for somebody else or doing your own thing is that you're willing to like kind of take that risk.
Yeah, well, risk is the number one factor, I think, in small business, anything.
Yeah.
You having the cojones, man.
Yeah.
Because falling flat on your face, being rejected.
Yeah.
I mean, I've learned to have a thicker skin.
Hmm.
Not to say it's all the way there,
Yeah.
but shit happens.
I mean, we're still human.
Yeah, obviously, right?
Right.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like that's what I don't. Yeah, that's what I just need a reminder every once in a while. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, just let it go. Just yeah, you're right. I mean,
I feel
fuck
like
it.
you just process through stuff, right?
Yeah.
You get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm good now, right?
Yeah. It just takes a minute. You're just like, all right, well, fuck it. Who
Yeah.
cares? Yeah, it's like a breakup. It happens. You hate it, and you move on.
Yeah.
You don't even remember their name after a week.
Right.
And then there's new fish in the sea.
Yep. Yeah. You move on to something bigger and better.
You sign them up.
Yeah. So what do you do for fun outside of like marketing and
Work.
yeah.
I work a lot.
Okay.
We travel.
Yeah, that's right. You RV?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have it.
Where is she test driving one?
No, she bought it.
Oh, she did.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jill bought it, and we have it at a campground, and
Okay,
we're
cool.
looking forward to doing that stuff in a few weeks. The season opens,
Yeah.
but we travel a lot, and I try to force Jill to travel now. I
Mhm.
kind of just I don't let money dictate anything,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm not rich by any means.
You can't take it with
I
you.
just don't care, right?
Yeah.
I can't take it with me. I'm just like people amass all this wealth, you know, and
Yeah.
they call it generational wealth, and like my great grandkids won't have to worry about anything, and I'm like,
You kinda want them to work
I
hard.
kind of don't give a shit. You know, I'm like, I don't even know who they are. I don't think I'll ever see them. The way things go these days, I'll never see my great grandkids. You know what I mean? I just don't think I will.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why do I have all this if I can't use it?
Yeah.
So Jill's like, oh, look, Chicago for a weekend, and I'm like, let's go. Well, it's I don't care how much it is. You want me to buy it? I'll just buy it.
Yeah.
I don't care. When we go to Sandals every year, it's a minimum 5-6 grand
Yeah.
just to go there. I'm like,
We've got a great time.
and here
Yeah.
you go. Here's the money because I just don't care.
So are you guys, for the RV, what's, like, on your list? Are you looking to go to, like, national parks or
Jeez,
just
I mean, Jill's list is west. She wants
Okay,
to see
cool.
Utah. She wants to
Yeah.
see, Montana. She wants
Yeah.
to see the mountains, man.
Oh,
It's
man.
all about the mountains with
So
Jill.
you almost just made me cry because we had a trip to take the kids to Glacier,
Mhm.
Glacier National Park in Montana. And we just decided against it because of airfare.
I saw that. That's right. You put that up.
Oh,
And I was
so
like,
I know.
but you know
You're
what?
gonna tell me just to do it.
No,
I
you know
know.
what? Okay, when it's me and Jill, just do it. When it's
Yeah.
3
Ugh.
kids additional, yeah, it can get hefty.
Oh my
And Jill's been telling
God.
me the airlines
It's
are insane.
insane. Now, when we were looking at it like months ago, I was like, in our heads, we're like, okay, we could do round trip for maybe 500, right? So we're like, we'll do that, but it's like double what we were
Mhm.
thinking. So we're just gonna wait it out.
Yeah, it
I
sucks.
mean, the worst part would be is like this is my husband and I have been there before. We did a national park tour when we were in our 20s.
Ooh.
Quit our jobs and packed up a Jeep
Oh, you guys did
Cherokee.
that?
Yeah, we
So
we
awesome.
did. It was awesome. I think about it every day. But I wanted to show the kids like real mountains, you know, and I've been wanting to take them out there. So we finally pulled the trigger to do it. And it broke my heart to have to cancel it. But the worst thing would be we would get out there and the kids would be like, it's all right. I'd be like, what do you mean?
There's a chance.
I just sold my kidney so we could get
Yeah,
here.
there's
Like,
a
it's
chance.
awesome.
I remember seeing my first mountain. I was like, wow. And it was in LA of all
Yeah.
places because we were driving. We went to San Diego and we drove to LA, and there's this road called Malibu Canyon Road.
Okay.
And I don't know how we got there, I couldn't tell you. But we're driving, and I'm like, what is that? And we pull over because they have like these scenic things,
Yeah.
you pull over. And I'm looking at it, and it's so tall, it gets cut off by the clouds.
I know, right?
And I was like, holy shit, that's a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
I've never seen a mountain in real life
Yeah.
because Long Island's flat. New York's pretty flat. You know,
Yep.
and even if you go upstate, you kind of see them. And out
Yeah.
there, it's hills.
Right.
But holy shit, when you
It's
see a real mountain.
breathtaking. I know. I just it's been a while. We went to Colorado last 2 Septembers ago and went to Rocky Mountain National Park. And it's funny because I'm not really a beach person. I enjoy being with the family, but it's not my choice. We were waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to go watch the elk or listen to the elk bugle and just look at the mountains. And it was insane. It's like, who gets up at 5 in the morning on their vacation?
I would.
I'm like, it was so cool, you know, just so neat. But just like we got there at the perfect time because it wasn't busy. We're in this small town called Grand Lake. If you ever get a chance, like,
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get there at some point.
so I would highly recommend it because it's on the southwestern entrance of Rocky Mountain National Park. A lot of people go to Estes
Okay.
and then drive through to the southern route, but we actually stayed in the south, and it's this like town of like 3 or 4 blocks long, with like one coffee shop, one ice cream shop, one restaurant, like an art gallery, but it's on a lake at the base of the Rocky Mountains, and it was just like picturesque.
Sounds awesome.
I mean, so awesome. So much, in fact, that we were like looking at real estate and we're like, oh, yeah, we could totally raise a family of 5 in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house for half, $500,000. Like, it's
know.
insane.
We always look at the real estate when we go to new places just
It's
to see
like,
what it's like to
What
live
do
there.
people do out there? Like,
They live in peace. And I
yeah.
think that's what we forget to do.
But just, I guess, I would love to live in peace, but I couldn't afford to do it. That's where I'm like, what do they
Well,
do
that's
to
why you work
support
hard now.
themselves? Yeah, right,
Well,
right,
you don't. Well, that's the thing is, I feel like a lot of those people, I think they've probably been there for a long time.
right.
They already purchased their stuff. They're done paying for it.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's my goal. I think that's why, like, retiring at 50 doesn't necessarily mean I'm done.
Right.
It just means, all right, I might be done with the hustle bustle, but
Yeah.
to live a life where, you're 50, 51, 52, you're waking up in the morning, listening to anything you want,
Yeah.
being able to go places, that's the real goal for me because people spend too much time working hard, which I understand we all have to work hard. We're in a society built that way.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But I think you need to really shorten the working hard time and
Yeah.
extend the enjoying time. And I know it's
Sure.
hard. I know it's a hard formula. I know it's not easy. But man, I'm going to try my damnedest to get there.
Yeah. It's the slowing down piece has been kind of past year and a half. I started volunteering at a local animal sanctuary, Holy Spirit Animal Sanctuary. It's up right next to Blue Marsh on Justa
Cool.
Road. And I started off because my daughter, my youngest, was taking riding lessons. It's like, well, she's here. I might as well just like help clean up some stalls and, help out where I could. So it started off as that. And then it kind of progressed where I was like finding myself there a couple times a week and on the weekends because I enjoyed it. Like it was so peaceful just to be with the animals. I don't get any phone reception. If I do, it's like super spotty. But it was kind of this evolution of like, that was my therapy because I was so like my mind was quiet when I was there. And I just noticed these other benefits. So in November of last year, there was a horse that came off the racetrack. Her name's Rosie, and she had an injury that ended her career. So the sanctuary took her in and rehabbed her, and she came up for lease. And I kind of just said to my husband jokingly, like, "Oh, guess what? Rosie's up for lease." And lease at a sanctuary really is just kind of like you're financially supporting them to stay there, so they have a really nice life and you don't own them, but you can ride them whenever you want and spend time with them. And so he was kind of like, all right, happy birthday. Like, so so not only do we have 3 kids in sports and stuff, but we also foster a retired racehorse.
That's awesome,
Named
man.
Rosie.
I love
Yeah.
it.
And the coolest part was like in that world, groundwork is really important. So you're not hopping on them and riding them right away. You're kind of working with them on the ground and building that trust. And what I found is if I show up super anxious and amped up, she was a nut. Like she was crazy. And so it forced me to kind of like take a deep breath and calm down before I worked with her. And I was like, oh, there's something to this. So like, I was like, yeah, and so my dream, like retirement dream would be able to somehow have a small, farmette or whatever, where I could hire like, a licensed therapist to come and facilitate like animal therapy and just have people be able to be like, hey, this is my like little slice of heaven here where I can come and just disconnect and stuff because it's done so much for me personally and my kids. Like they come up and help volunteer and they're a part of that too, which is really cool.
I love that idea. I think it's a great idea. I think disconnecting is, wow, it's something that's so hard to do.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I just listen to other podcasts and they talk about disconnecting. They're like, remember back in the day when your parents just trusted you would make it home alive?
Right.
I was
No
like,
phones.
you're right.
Take your bike, no helmet, right?
Yeah.
Come home if you're hungry.
And I mean, I can't even fathom not
Yeah.
being able to contact my children now. Just being able to be like, are you okay? Dad loves you.
But do you know, like, so I've had a couple of conversations with parents, the attachment style parenting, all this stuff, right? So do you feel as though things are necessarily more scary now or we just know about it?
We just know about it.
Right.
Well, we just know about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. That's why I get mad when I hear people say America's terrible and all these things. I'm like, well, that's because all you read is the bad stuff.
Right.
Right. But then I'm watching Shark Tank because, again, I like watching the
Yeah.
show. So
I
Jill
love
and
Shark Tank.
Yeah, we love it. So we're watching it. And the amount of times I heard people say, oh, my parents sacrificed to come to America. My parents sacrificed to come to America. I did everything I could to come here and live the American dream. All
Yeah.
these positives about coming to America. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's really not a bad place to live. It's an amazing place to live because there's opportunity. But then you take it a step further and go, you know what? The world isn't that bad. I
Yeah.
think a lot of the problem is you know about the bad things that happen.
Right.
And it's so accessible. All you have to do is pick up your phone and look
Yeah.
at any social network, and you're
Yep.
going to see some bad stuff, period.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens with, with kids and stuff. Like, yeah, it's bad. Social media is bad, like
Yeah.
from that aspect of it.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're curious and kids do some dumb shit, but
But I feel we always did dumb shit.
I'm happy I couldn't record any of the shit I did. I
I'm
mean,
like,
forget
I
about
would
it.
be in jail if we had phones
Oh,
like when we were
man.
kids.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I told the kids half the stories I
Yeah.
did, I
Yeah.
mean, let me see. I've run from the cops on multiple occasions. I was in, I mean, listen,
Oh my gosh.
you with a bunch of kids in the middle of a forest with a keg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you go ahead and say that today, everybody's gonna be like, oh my God, there's children with alcohol. And I'm
I
like,
know.
what's funny is that we
Yeah.
actually made it into a business. We would find somebody to get us a keg, put it in the forest, everybody would give us $5. You get
Right.
your red Solo cup,
Yeah.
and we'd leave with no issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
I
Because
don't
it
know.
wasn't recorded.
None of it was
Yeah.
recorded. Man, the amount of dumb shit I did.
I
And
know.
it's funny, I tell my parents half these stories now, and they
Yeah.
just go, really?
I know.
Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
used to have parties in the house before my parents came home. I'd have them at, guys, you have to be out by like 10:30. So we'd have the party. Everybody was chilling.
Oh
10:30
my
came.
gosh.
They left. I vacuumed. I threw everything out.
Yeah.
Parents go home like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, what'd you do? I'm like, nothing. Fucking party and all kinds of shit happening.
Oh my gosh. I remember I was up in Bloomsburg and my roommate and I were, it's Sesame Street was a place in Bloomsburg, right? And it still exists, but I don't know if it's in any capacity the way it was. And they started burning couches in the middle of this complex.
Burning
He's
couches.
burning couches. So kegs out everywhere, burning couches. And I was like to my roommate, listen, if the cops come, like we need to run, right? So sure enough, cops show up and we start running. Well, here she took off in the opposite direction. And I find her like 45 minutes later back at our dorm. And she's pulling sticker bushes like out of her forehead, her cheeks and stuff. I was like, Stacy, where the hell did you go? She's like, I ran. You told me to run. I was like, not that direction. Straight into a berry patch.
Nice job.
But yeah. But
At that point, the cops don't arrest you because they're like,
yeah,
you're
you're good.
enough.
Just go
See ya."
home. Yeah. Oh my God. But no, you're totally right. Like we only see the bad, like, and just kind of just to give a shout out, like my kids go to Wilson. So on Friday, like I'm sure you heard about it, there was this
Yeah.
super scary situation that was incredibly real for the 25 minutes or so that we believed it to be true. And it was somebody had called in and said that there was a shooter at the school. 3 people had been shot. And it was just absolutely terrifying. And, it turns out it was this hoax. They're doing these swatting calls. I think they did the same
Yep.
thing down at like Wendy's or whatever. But, panic set in, but immediately, like, I can't tell you how awesome our community is. Like the police response, the administration, like everybody who, like, while this is going on, run to, this situation and are like taking care of our kids and making sure they're safe. And it was just kind of like, that's the good stuff you don't hear about. I mean,
Yeah.
or that you should be hearing about. It was just incredible. And it turns out everybody was fine. It was a hoax, but I just feel that made me feel safe to know that, the Spring Township cops and Wyomissing cops were even there. I mean, there was cops from all over the county. It was flooded.
And it's funny how you say cops are good, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Let's put it out there. It's like you dictate,
Yeah.
how a whole force of protective people are just, they're described by one stupid ass,
Yeah.
person or, there's bad eggs in everything.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
like you just
Yeah.
said, there's a threat. Thank God nothing happened, but all these
Yeah.
cops came out.
Yeah.
And they're really quick out here. I have noticed. Like,
Super
yeah.
quick.
Which is
So.
great. I love that. I love our police force. I love them. I think everything they do is very, I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not a cop.
Right.
I mean, I'm dangerous with a mouse, but that's it. Don't give me a badge and a gun.
Right.
I give them a lot of props, man. That's
Yeah.
a hard gig, and but yeah, man, you're right. There's not enough good in the world because nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't sell clicks.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of create something awesome today. That's pretty positive, right?
Thank you. Yeah, it is positive.
Yeah.
I think everybody should do that. But the clicks and everything is it's an art form. Even doing social media is an art form. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, for everybody listening out there, Tricia Williams owns a social media company. If you haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all bad.
No,
No,
it's fun.
it's a
you know,
necessary evil.
it's a necessary evil, as they say. I give you props for running that though, man, because
Yeah.
it's hard. It is not easy. Everyone who owns a social media company, make sure you send them flowers and chocolates and say thank you
And coffee.
because I'm
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yeah.
So sorry, it ain't happening.
Aw.
But I wanna get into social media maybe just for a couple minutes. From talking to a professional sitting right in
Yeah.
front of me, I
Yeah.
want to know. Give me your maybe top 1 or 2 tips for this year if you're a small business, what you should be doing on social media
Sure.
or where or something. Give me your pro tip here.
Yeah. So for like any DIY or company, I mean, I think consistency is key, and then content, like just coming up with good content that people want to, click into, whether it's reels, huge, right? So we
Huge.
know that reels are huge. So I think just remaining consistent and the video piece of it is huge. So if you can't, yeah.
That's how
Shout
we're
out.
cookies
Oh,
here.
yeah, yeah. So, just making sure that you have a presence, online with that piece is huge.
You think here's some okay, so I came in my brain, I figured something out because sometimes my brain doesn't work right away.
Yeah, mine doesn't
But
either.
then last night I was like, oh wait, there's stories and reels.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to hear what's the difference from you.
Yeah. So stories are only up for 24 hours,
Right.
right? So you catch it or you don't. The reels are up, like that's your video archive, right? So it's there for people to see whenever they want to see it. And I find, I mean, if you're anything like me, I mean, I go down a rabbit hole real fast on
Oh, yeah.
reels, right? I mean, I wake up every morning to a text from some of my best girlfriends sending me the most ridiculous reels that we're just like laughing our asses off about. 25 minutes later, I'm like, shit, I need to get the kids on the bus.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so it is like this addiction. But I think content related, as far as like a professional service or company goes, you can really reach your clients that way, and share a lot of good information. And if you're doing it right, they'll keep clicking through it. So it's,
Yes.
it's really important. Consider that as like your video archive, right?
Do you think
Library.
Do you think so let's say somebody's really busy.
Yeah.
They're just starting out, maybe they don't have the money to hire you. Should they focus on creating reels and stories, or should they just keep doing the timeline thing with the photos and stuff?
I mean, I think it's got to be a good mix of both. It's got to be static and reels. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Like you can do it yourself and you don't necessarily need a professional depending on your goals.
Right.
So just kind of like if you're looking to start out, whatever it is, a small business, like I find some of the most engaging reels for small business are people who are making something, right? They're showing you the how-to. Like this
Love
is,
those.
yeah, right? It like kind of draws you in. So it's one of the coolest things that I like to watch. A friend of mine does wood and resin. And so it's like the DIY. This is how you do it.
Love
And you
that.
just get sucked into the epoxy, the pouring.
Yeah.
Like it's all that the ASMR stuff, right? That my
Yes.
daughter's always like, look at this. So don't overcomplicate it. I think if you're providing a product, I think specifically, it's like show people behind the scenes. Like, how do you do it? What's your day-to-day look like? Like there's a lot of simple things that you can do on your own that will make a great reel.
I love it.
So
I love
yeah.
it. Trisha, thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming in
this was
today.
awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to do it again and maybe actually talk about social media.
Yeah, no, that's not. I mean, who seriously wants to
It's
know
not
about that?
fun.
All the other stuff was
I
way
know, I
better.
know. Yeah, of course it is. I mean, that's social media. That marketing's
Yeah.
terrible.
No,
Don't
this
waste your
was
time
great.
doing it. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it,
Thank
man.
you.
Hopefully
Yeah,
we do it
so
again
fun.
real soon.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of Fred Talk. If you totally got into what you just saw, make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss another episode. Check out the playlist because there's other cool people too. And if you can't watch all the time, check it out on any podcast outlet. Don't forget, your Uncle Freddy loves you. Peace.